All right, day 10. Winding down our time here in New York. Last night was a good night. Got floated to a different unit. Had a really good night. Patients that are starting to get better slowly but surely. Some that are, there's still patients that are getting worse. That's kind of the nature of all illness. And so it's kind of the ebb and flow of working in healthcare. So you see the good and you see the bad. And you try to control the parameters that you can control, and then you try to ride out the ones that you can't. It was a good night. Busy in a good way though, and left the hospital exhausted, but grateful for the opportunity to be there. I've sat here for the last hour, trying to think about what I was going to say today, because there's something that I want to address, but I have to be careful in how I address it. While this is my personal Facebook page for the time being, and while I am here, I am a representative of two different organizations. My hospital group, which sent me out here and graciously provided for our opportunity to be here, and then also the hospital group that I'm working with here. And so I have to be careful with what I say, because it's not my place to speak for them or to reflect poorly on them. But there's something I feel that needs to be addressed, and so I will do it as carefully as I can. Know up front that I am being very restrained with what I say right now, because I am very upset. I had a family member send to me the link for a particular video going around on social media. I'm sure most of you know what it is, and wanted my opinion on it. My opinion is that that individual is ill-informed or misrepresenting intentionally what is going on. That's the nicest way I can say it. One of the things that's going to come out of this whole COVID thing is we are going to learn a lot. It is easy to sit, to coin a phrase, to sit in our ivory tower looking down at the people who are on the front lines and the people who are neck deep in what is going on, and be critical because we think they're not doing things the way that we feel they should be done. Hindsight's 20/20. That's the way life works. We can see that in how we deal with history. You look at examples of things that happened 50, 100, 200 years ago. And we far too often run all of these scenarios through our present day filter and wonder how everyone got it so wrong so long ago. They got it wrong, or we think they got it wrong, simply because we learned from their mistakes. That's the way this works. And so to sit and be critical, to disparage the people that are here, the people that are on the front lines, the people that have dealt with it for 6 weeks now, and act as though the job that they're doing is insufficient, that doesn't sit well with me. That doesn't sit well with me at all. The nurses and the caregivers that I've met, while exhausted and tired, still show up every day. While you sit at home in your house, separated from the reality of it, passing judgment on them. Don't be that way. It's a pathetic place to be, quite frankly. The system as a whole is doing the best it can. On a good day in healthcare, on a normal day in healthcare, there's always something on back order, always something that we are short on. Our supply chains do the best they can to keep hospitals supplied with what they need. But on a good day, we're short stuff. Almost always, there's something missing. So when you have a hospital system that's been overrun by critically ill patients who require a ton of resources, those supplies run out fast. I'm not sure what the general public expects our healthcare system to do. They're doing the best they can. The hospitals that we've been in, the hospitals that we've worked at, have done the best that they can. Juggling what is a logistical nightmare in terms of patient load, acuity, and staffing. It's been a nightmare. And they have handled it as well as they can. There's going to be lessons learned from all of this. There should be lessons learned. We should, in 6 months or a year, look back at all the things we could have done better and make sure that we do better the next time. Garrett, who was here with me, one of the things he said, and I may have mentioned this before, but I'll mention it again. We'd gotten in a conversation with one of the doctors in one of the units that we were in, and Garrett had said to her, you can't plan for this. And to a point, he's right. Nobody saw this coming. Despite our best efforts, and I'm sure there's conversations that are ongoing all the time, how would we handle something like this? Until you're in the midst of it, until that reality hits, you're limited in how you can prepare. Now, I made a point to him after he said that. I said, you're right, Garrett. It's almost impossible to prepare for something like this the first time it happens. We should be better the second time, and I think we will be better the second time. There's going to be lessons learned and improvements made to the system. But the reality that these hospitals here in New York are living and that these workers are living is vastly different, and I think incredibly misunderstood by the bulk of the general public. Now, there's a lot of reasons for that. Sadly, I think by and large, one of the biggest reasons is people want to be able to deny because it doesn't fit their preconceived beliefs about the situation. The number of conspiracy theories and just, pardon my language, straight up bullshit that has accompanied all of this, I mean, that's remarkable. It's telling. We want to cling so strongly to what we hope to be true. One of the best things we can do, one of the most important things we can do, is be willing to admit when we were wrong. Be willing to admit when the actual data and the actual reality is different than what we would like it to be. Unfortunately, I think it's kind of human nature to fight against that. And so we end up in the situation that we're in. That's about as nicely as I can put it. I'll touch on one more thing. And this has been kind of a big debate, and it's something that drives me nuts. One of the things that she did mention, and I'll mention this specifically, is they're not using hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin to care for the patients here. I'm going to make an assumption here. That assumption is that this person on this video believes, simply because they heard it, that combination is some sort of cure. That's all we need to do. And I've been asked multiple times by people since I've been out here, well, are they doing it? Sometimes. Well, why not? Why wouldn't you at least try it? So let me tell you why. Data is constantly changing. My expectation for someone who claims on a video to be a nurse practitioner is that you would understand the science behind what you're talking about, that you would have taken the time to do the research, that you would have taken the time to find out whether or not what you are recommending actually is effective. So let me show you what the latest studies show, because it's true. Early on from Italy, it appeared that hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin would be a good combination, that there would be some success. The data has not borne that out. And there are multiple studies being done currently. There are multiple studies that have been done the last 2 months that bear out that that is not the case. So one of the most recent, in the VA system, they did a retrospective analysis of 368 patients. I'm taking this directly from a scientific article, which is where you should get your medical information. Not Fox News, not CNN, not the president. You want to know what the science is telling you? You go to published journals and you find out. So in a retrospective analysis of 368 patients, they looked at the ones who got hydroxychloroquine on their own. They looked at the ones who got hydroxychloroquine plus azithromycin. And then they looked at the ones who didn't get anything. Guess what it showed? Those who got hydroxychloroquine on their own died at a much higher rate and were intubated at a much higher rate than the other two groups. And for the group that got hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin, there was virtually no difference in death and intubation versus those who got no treatment at all. So, stop. Stop talking about stuff you don't understand. Stop disparaging the people who are here on the front lines who have busted their asses for the better part of 2 months to save lives of people you will never know and will never meet. Stop putting your head in the sand because it doesn't fit your preconceived ideas about how all of this is playing out. These hospitals, these nurses, the people that I've worked with for the last 2 weeks have done the best that they can. We want to get into a political debate? Let's have the debate. Let's talk about why the hell our healthcare system is so broken. Let's talk about why the people affected by this more often than not are African American or Hispanic, or in my home state of Utah, Navajo. Where are the disparities that exist that make that the case? Let's have that discussion. But don't denigrate the people who are here, the people who are doing the work, the people who have sat there for 6 weeks and watched thousands of people die. The mental toll that takes on you as a caregiver cannot be quantified by somebody sitting in their house sipping iced tea or Diet Coke or whatever the hell she's drinking. You have no frame of reference for what's going on. No frame of reference for the reality of the situation. Sorry. They can all be positive. The people here are doing the best they can. That's the reality of it. Surely there are deficiencies in our national healthcare system and deficiencies in the way some things are done. But the people on the front lines, the people that are caring for these patients, no, they're doing the best they can with what they've got. Lessons are going to be learned for sure, and they should be learned. And we have to be honest about mistakes that we made and what we could have been better. And I think they will be. Um, but the people here are doing the best they can in the situation they're in. So I was a little irate when I saw that. Um, yeah, just a little irate. I've got 2 more days here, 2 more shifts, and I'm going to do everything I can to help the people that I'm working with. They have been generous and kind and grateful for the help that we've given. And Friday morning, I'll be able to go home, and they'll still be here dealing with it. And when things get relaxed and people start using the subway again, and if this all rears its ugly head again, these people will still be here fighting on the front lines while the rest of us sit at home. Anyways, that's all I got. Day 10. A day of contentment, hard work, but more than a little bit of frustration. Thank you, everyone, for reaching out and for your kindness and the generosity and making it so that we can do small things to help those that are here. Thanks.